Hello students, welcome to Eduxcite classes. This is the last video of this Physics IA, and in this session we will discuss about the last component, that is your evaluation and communication both. Okay. Now if you have watched all my videos, now it will be very easy for you to evaluate and finally look after the communication part of your Physics IA. Now evaluation is again of 6 marks out of your 24 marks available for your IA. Now in this, what we are looking for is your describing and justifying a conclusion in proper scientific context. Now whatever you have done till analysis, now you come up with your result. Now how using supporting with your analysis, how you are making a particular describing and justifying your conclusion using the scientific content, that is what we are looking for. First point. Second is, this is where majority of the student miss out this point, is identifying the weakness in the procedure. We know that nothing is perfect, okay, so accepting that thing and mentioning whatever the weaknesses you might have experienced yourself while conducting the experiment. You can mention those things, what are the weakness, what are the things that you are not under your own control, how you can make this, you can provide the improvement also. That is next, suggesting improvement to the investigation. Like if you have given more time, what are the further things that you can do with your investigation in order to get a more appropriate or more accurate answer. Or you can give like if these things are under my control from a particular way of doing, this might have improved my way of doing. So give a justification why you are not able to do that, how you find that, and mention that thing. That comes under the part of evaluation. Now even getting your result, there might be some chances that even if in your graph, a particular graph, like if you are getting a increasing trend, one might you get a decreasing point. So you might say that during the getting of this data, there might be some random or systematic errors heavier than the previous, or the uncertainty suddenly gets higher in a particular trial. So that is, you can mention and you can give a proper justification to it. Okay. So what are the do's? A detailed conclusion is described and justified, which is entirely relevant to your own research question and fully supported with the data presented. It's not like that you are just mentioning, yeah, it is having this relationship with the independent and dependent variable, but you should have a supporting data with your analysis, as I mentioned in my previous video about the gradient and the uncertainty in the gradient. So it is supported, like it is supported with your data. A conclusion is correctly described and justified through relevant comparison to the accepted scientific context. Now here you can use the different research which is relevant to your research question, and you can match up with the data, what they are getting and what you are getting. Or if you have a mathematical equation, you can support your answer with the mathematical calculations given in your with respect to your research question. Strength and weakness of the investigation, such as limitation of the data, sources of error, are discussed and provide evidence of clear understanding of the methodological issues involved in establishing your conclusion. Like when you are mentioning a certain strength or a weakness of your methodology that you have followed up for your Physics IA, you can mention that thing in your and provide evidence, like, yeah, you accept that this is your weakness, or you accept that this is the thing where you went wrong. But if provided time, I might, or in further future exploration, or further investigation of future investigation, I can do that part. Okay, so that must be mentioned. The student has discussed realistic and relevant suggestion for improvement or extension of the investigation. So there should be some realistic investigation, further investigation must be provided for you for your Physics IA, and improvement that are reliable and realistic in nature. It should not be a superficial. Okay. The conclusion is visually presented and summarized in the text. It should be clearly mentioned what is your conclusion. It may be visually presented in the form of any clip art or a graph or whatever the creative way you can think of, and summarized in the text. The data supports the conclusion and research question has been answered at the end. The student conclusion of the investigation clearly address the research question and it appreciate in a qualitative sense of the degree of accuracy. Okay, so whatever you are answering, it should be again the same point, it should be supported by your data. The result illustrate any given equation and the data range graphs were all appropriate. Whatever the data, whatever the answer you are giving, it is supported that whatever the trends you are getting, it is the similar one. Although the student address all the descriptors under the evaluation for any modeling investigation, more attention to the conclusion would be needed for the top mark. So, as I stated that till you come to the evaluation part, majority of the students lose motivation and they are just in order to submit their IA. So, just take a few minutes, few time and think of a detailed conclusion that will give you the top mark, and this is the criteria where you get differ from your the top rankers or the top graders. The student is aware of the assumption and the uncertainty and systematic error throughout your investigation. These all are addressed in the concluding comments. So you have known what are your weakness, what are your strength, and you have properly mentioned those things in your conclusion. So if you follow up this all, you will get a band of 5 or 6 definitely. This is directly taken from your IB guide. And the last part, communication, it consists of your 4 out of 24 marks. The communication is basically the presentation of your report, the overall presentation, how you have make everything in a particular logical sequence. This is, and how you confined your data in such a manner that it is accomplished within the page limit of 12. So the research question is presented early on. These are few of the points that you should keep in mind. The graphs and the diagrams are appropriate with comprehensive keys and labels. Use proper citations within the text. You should use footnotes or endnotes, like footnotes and endnote you should mention. So this is structure and clarity of the report. I generally suggest, this is my personal you can say a suggestion for all of you. Start with the introduction, then clearly mention how you frame up with your research question. It should be clearly mentioned. You can bold it, underline it. Background theory and the hypothesis involved, different variables, independent, dependent and control variable, as we discussed in the earlier. A proper diagram or an experimental, a clear experimental setup with a proper labeling. Apparatus required, what are the apparatus with the clear range and the specifications. A methodology, procedure, method, whatever you say, in a particular manner which explain how you are performing your experiment. The raw data collection, the raw data table, the process data table, then the graphs that you are plotting, analysis of the graphs, calculation of your uncertainties, conclusion and evaluation, the strengths, weakness and all those stuff, and the last, what are the references. So this is the proper structure and the clarity of your report, which comes under the category of communication. Relevance and conciseness, this is the checklist to help you keep your report relevant and concise. Avoid repetition, do not repeat the same thing again and again in your investigation. Design your tables appropriately with the column headings and the decimal places and all. Do not include unnecessary or oversized graph. Like if you are mentioning different graph, they should be of same size and should be properly aligned. Do not include material or information that is irrelevant just in order to increase the number of pages or to fit into the 12 pages, as I mentioned earlier. Do not overrun the 12 page limit. Even though if you are moving to the 30th page, that will not be considered by the examiner. You will be graded only from the first 12 pages. As simple as that. Terminology and the convention. To achieve well in this section, make sure that you use the correct scientific terms, proper citations, correct scientific units used correctly, proper headings in the tables, consistency in the decimal places, correct scientific names and presented in italics. This is very important. Scientific names are present in italics, like any scientific name you are considering, that should be in italics and in the correct case. Like if you are mentioning any scientific name of such as for example of any scientist you are mentioning, so that should be in italic and in correct cases. Okay, if you are giving a unit joules, so that should be an italic. Okay, so do not write just capital J, it should be an italic capital J, like that, depending upon the correct. If you are writing kg, then should be an italic. Unit should always be in italic. Okay, So this is how the communication part plays. The presentation of the investigation must be clear. Any errors do not hamper the understanding of the focus, process and outcome of your investigation. It is well structured and clear. All the information, our focus, process and outcomes is present in a clear manner, coherent way. The report is relevant and concise, thereby facilitating a reader understanding of the focus, process and outcomes of the investigation. It should be clear while reading out. It should give a clear idea. Okay, I am starting from introduction, this. So it should be clear to an examiner, and it should not be like that I am going back to the previous page looking at the information, and it creates a confusion for the examiner. The use of subject specific terminologies and conventions are appropriately used wherever required. Any errors do not hamper the understanding. It should not be confusing. Okay, whatever you are present, it should be clearly and concisely presented. The student report is clearly written and presented. There may be any illustration, mathematical calculation to remove any doubt what the student is talking about. So if you are mentioning any mathematical equation, it should be relevant to your research question. Do not just add for show off and all those stuff. The report flows nicely and is within the page limit. There are a number of personal touches that help the work interesting. Wherever required, try to give the personal engagement, the first criteria. Okay. The structure is clear, divided into manageable sections as I specified in the layout. The experimental process was clear and the comments were relevant. Moreover, the calculation techniques are explained. Like if you are doing any particular calculation, it should be explained step by step rather than just writing down the final answer. And graphs illustrate beautifully what the reader is to understand. For example, as I discussed the calculation for the uncertainty, you are not supposed to calculate all the uncertainty, mention the details of all the uncertainty. Take any one relevant data and you just say that this is how the uncertainty is being calculated throughout the investigation, and take any one example to explain that. That is all what we require. Don't say that for all readings you are calculating and it is all going beyond your page limit. No, only take one simple sample to explain the calculation of the required uncertainty. So if you follow up, definitely it will be 4 out of 4, no doubt in that. Okay. So this is all guys I hope you have liked all my videos, and I tried my level best to give you a complete insight decoding the physics IA. If you follow up all those things, definitely you will be getting maybe 24 out of 24, who knows. Okay. So if you have any questions, you can email me on this, you can contact me on this email ID, and WhatsApp number are the same. You can even refer our website for any live online tuition regarding your IBDP Physics, Chemistry, Maths, Bio, Computer Science. All the details are here. You can refer this link. All the details are given in the description as well. I hope you like this video. Thank you, and please share with your friends and family. All the credits for the presentation are created by the SlideGo and includes icon by Flaticon and infographics and images by FreePic. That shows the academic honesty. Okay guys, take care, keep learning. Thank you. Bye bye.